What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the Mandem, for the Mandem. How did Simon Miller get from the gaming stuff to the wrestling stuff to now wanting to be in the ring?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I tried way back when. I went to WrestleMania 32. There's a random thing for you. Actually, it was before that. It was WrestleMania 28. It was WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 32, and then I eventually did it. So again, I don't want to drop names. First time I went to wrestling training, I got a very old school wrestling trainer. He kicked my ass. At one point, I essentially broke my back and he made me do 619s. He's one of these guys. And one day I woke up and I was like, it's just not me. Yeah. And also knowing what wrestling was like back then, I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have done, man. Like I got thick skin, but I don't want to, venture too far off to one side here, but I'm always cool talking about this stuff. I got bullied in school, right? I've had enough of that in my life. So as soon as I feel it in my adult life, I'm like, I don't want it. Yeah. No, I'm done with it. So I had that, so I walked away. And at that point, I decided, okay, wrestling's not for me. And then I went to WrestleMania 32 and I'll try again. But at that point, I was there was just other things going on. I could not commit to going to training properly. And I knew that was bad. I knew, well, you can't commit right now. You just can't do it. And then, when I started working at What Culture, they were looking for ideas. All this happened in the space of the week. Life is funny, right? And so, have we got any ideas? And I said, well, I really would like to finally put a nail in the coffin with this training to be a wrestler. And I'm not kidding you. I said, that sounds like a good idea. The next day, I used to work in Croydon. The Croydon advertiser, whatever it's called, dropped through. And one of the adverts, do you want to be a wrestler? I was like, you're kidding me.
That's a movie.
In a newspaper. Honestly, it wasn't a movie.
And you get a crash zoom into the bench. You'll be like,
It's like, do you want to be a wrestler? Do you remember like Attitude Era legend Al Snow? I was like, I was looking around, like, did someone just give this to me? And it was honestly a 15-minute drive from my house. And I was like, well, that's it. So
wait, Croydon, man.
It was a Croydon,
Were you training with Thing then?
I was the Al Snow Wrestling Academy. Yeah, that's where I started.
Oh, shit.
Yes, that doesn't exist.
Was Roy Johnson there?
Yeah. Sorry?
Was Roy Johnson there?
No, he may have trained there. I never saw him. But he goes to King's Gym and stuff, doesn't he? He loves Croydon. So, I think he was already working by then. I think he was already working. But so I pitched to What Culture. I said, I'm going to go to this place. I'm going to train to be a wrestler, and we can document the whole thing. Like, we don't have to film anything. We actually did film a little bit, but it's vlog. That was with vlogs. So you just talk. Like, now talk. This is what I did. So we called it Simon Miller's Wrestling Journey. And that was cool because it's like having a personal trainer. Gave me accountability. Well, I can't wuss out now.
Yeah.
So the plan was it's twofold. One, just have one match, cross it off the list. Again, what we were talking about. It's so that anyone wants to be a wrestler, go and do it. If you hate it, it's the best thing you'll ever do in your life because you can get your book out and go, don't want to do it. And you never think about it again. That's just as good as going.
He came to watch me on Tuesday. And I was like, bro, you're going to get in the ring? He goes, I don't know, I was like, bro, you're missing out. Look, I'm about to roast him a bit. He goes, and I went back to him, I was like, oh, you're right. He goes, Lord, I've got short shit on. I got short shit. I was like, yo, hold on. I was like, yo, come next week. Speak to the coach and I have to come next week, innit? But it's,
I'm doing the next intake next month.
It's the next month, yeah.
Everyone should do it. If you hate it, who cares? You never have to think about it again. You did it. You tried. That's awesome. So, so my goal was just to have one match. And so we did the whole training thing, hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it was great. But the other reason is because I was there doing ups and downs for Raw. I just had this feeling where I was like, what a jackass I am. That was rubbish. Well, based on what? Like we were just talking about, what have you done? Yeah. So I thought, well, another great way that you could bring to this that doesn't make you any better than anybody else, but it gives you an edge, right? It gives you a USP. Let's become a wrestler. And then it can be a wrestler reviewing the wrestling. I was like, oh man, you're a genius, Simon. And then, got my ass kicked. I remember the first time after I trained, I had to call in sick to work. I still had a job. I couldn't move. I was in bed going, well, my body doesn't work, so I'm not coming in. They went, you are? I said, I'm not. I couldn't, I physically couldn't move. It was the worst pain ever. And then, I got to the Defiant Rumble, which was like 2 years after I started training. And it was just, that was it. I mean, all wrestlers say it was like a drug. Like I was so there's footage out there because What Culture recorded.
doing the intro for Hustle already is a drug.
Right?
The minute that music hits and the lights hit me, oh shit!
That's it. And I remember I was backstage. I was so nervous. Smack it up, baby. But I was so nervous. And then I walked out. Bless them. They gave me a really nice reaction, and I just knew it. That's it. That's it. And then I rode that way. But it came because I knew that I had to do it, and because I didn't want to be a guy saying that was a bad match. When I wasn't out there as well, giving other people the opportunity to say, well, you had a bad match too. I think it's really important. And that I had a different perspective, like we talked about. So it all just came together. 2016 was an awesome year. It's a really good year for old Simon Miller, yeah.
Do you ever feel like, have you felt like the pressure of being Simon Miller and being a wrestler? Like, do people expect more from you because you're Simon Miller?
Also, okay, ask that question. I think I saw a tweet last year at WrestleMania. Did something happen outside WrestleMania as well? With fans as well?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Okay, let's get to after that. Yeah.
So I feel it. I don't know whether, I think you get two types of fan. I think you get one type of fan that will come see me wrestle and I can have the worst match ever and they'll go, it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Just because they're like I said, we did a live show, What Coach did a live show before one WrestleMania. It was one in New York, I can't remember which one. And I
remember the poster for it.
Yeah, that's right. He was in a stand-up comedy club. So I said, can I just go and do 20 minutes of stand-up comedy? And I can do whatever you want. It was not very good stand-up comedy, but because they were all with me, they were laughing like Jerry Seinfeld had just rocked up. And I think sometimes you get that with wrestling as well, which is fine, by the way. I don't care. I put a lot of pressure on myself just because when I first started wrestling, understandably, and this happened many a time in locker rooms, I don't want to work with a YouTuber. I don't want to work with a YouTuber. Like, it's embarrassing. I can't do this. I can't do that. And there was, thankfully, because I got into it older than most people, I'd been through that kind of stuff before. So I knew smile and nod, respect, smile and nod, respect. I said, yep, totally understand, no problem, smile and nod. Many times I got beaten in 3 seconds and stuff like that. Remember a wonderful match where someone just gave me the hardest lariat I've ever experienced in my life and pinned me. And I remember it was so funny because there was one guy in the crowd that had come to see me. It's like, it couldn't have been older than 14, 15. And he just looked at me and went, is that it? And I had to go, yep, it is. I signed an 8x10 for him. I gave it to him. He seemed quite happy. But but I do put a lot of pressure on myself because, listen, I am not the greatest wrestler of all time, right? And we were talking about this again because the progress stuff is now taken off. I even said to them the other day, listen, I'm never going to be whatever a 5-star wrestler in this world is. But I tell you what, it can be, potentially, the best 3-star wrestler ever. So I had a match on Sunday. That's all I wanted it to be. I knew a friend of a friend was in the crowd and I deliberately got his feedback afterwards. All I wanted the feedback to say was, it was a very fun, what you'd expect babyface match. I kid you not, man, word for word. And I was just like, yes,
you got it, yeah.
That's all I want to do because I think you have to play to your strengths. And I'm an okay wrestler. Some days are good, some days not so good. But it's all the other stuff I feel like, I like doing promos, I like doing character work, and some wrestlers are terrified of that stuff. But again, you talked about doing a dropkick off the top rope. I would break my neck and die. So let's not do that. But I do put a lot of pressure on myself only because if someone's paid for a ticket to see me, I want to make sure they get something out of it. Yeah. But also I don't want to insult what wrestling is. The worst thing that ever happened is people thought I hadn't trained. They just thought I was turning up to shows to wrestle. And I really like to think I spent a lot of time trying to prove, no. I'm taking this as seriously as I can. When it comes to wages, I expect to be paid what a starter wrestler. That was, oh my gosh. The amount of people that wouldn't book me because they thought I was going to ask for like 10 grand or something. I was like, listen, not to ruin any British professional wrestling dreams, I was working for like 20, 30 quid for a long time because that's what beginner wrestlers paid. So I'd said, give me the money, man. I get it's ridiculous in many ways, but if that is the structure we're working within, but I think because of all that too, yeah. So it's like a twofold thing. I definitely want fans to feel like that's what I expected Simon Miller, the wrestler, to be. But also, and I think we're there now. I think it's okay. I think most wrestlers get it that, oh no, it's he wants to get better at this. And hopefully I've been accepted into the thing. But I put a lot of pressure on myself with everything. Even we did Raw Ups and Downs yesterday, for example. I've been doing that now for 8 years. I watched some bits back. I'm like, it's not good enough. I re-recorded it. Wow. Yeah, because anything I put out, I want to make sure that I think it's up to a quality that people are expecting. So, yeah.
What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the Mandem, for the Mandem.